Hello, guys. Let me tell you two real stories which are very inspiring and very motivating also. After 2024 prelims, a student came to me right after the prelims and he is completely confused. He's not confident about his optional, that is sociology. And honestly, he was just like most of the aspirants. But within few months, when the actual result came, when the final result came, he scored 293 marks in sociology, and that's the national highest marks in sociology in 2025. And he cracked UPSC with 77th rank, and he got IAS. So I'm talking about the story of Nilesh Goyal. And that year, 2025, after that, 2025 prelims, after that, another student came to me. Her name is Priya, and she is also not prepared sociology. She started attending the classes and taken the mentorship. And when the result came in 2026, she scored 276 marks in sociology in her very first mains, and she got 232nd rank also. Now the question is, what actually changed, right? See, because you are also preparing sociology right now, and you might be going through the similar phase, similar situation, similar confusion. You are reading too much, you are attending the classes, you are watching the lectures, you are making the notes, you are revising also, but somewhere inside you, you are not feeling that confident. And you don't know whether you are doing the right thing. Are you in the right direction? Will this actually give the mark? Because you are putting a lot of hard work, but whether it is going to be fruitful or not, you're not sure about it. And you are also not able to understand why you are stuck at the same level. And that's exactly where these two students also were. See, there are many other students also, like this year topper Shubham, 296 marks, is also our student. But these two I have taken because that's very special cases, right? Now, when these two students came to us, the both of them, there is a similarity between both. That's why I'm talking about that. Or if I need to talk specifically about Priya, she's a absolute fresher also. She was doing everything that most aspirants do, like reading multiple books and collecting too many notes. And there is no proper answer writing structure. There is no clarity on thinkers. You just mugging up. You read the textbook of Ritzer, or you read that essential sociology. And the biggest problem is no one was there to correct her. So what will happen in this situation? You feel like you are working very hard, but your marks is not improving. You are not getting the reward of the effort that you are putting in. And ultimately what will happen? The confidence goes down, and you keep on attempting, right, without any change in the marks. 220, 230, you will just get stuck in that 220, 230, 240 marks. Let me tell you something very honestly. Most aspirants don't fail because they don't study. You take anyone, those who cleared the prelims, that itself was telling the hard work they have given. So, of course, they will definitely study to whatever extent possible in mains. So, you cannot, the difference is not about studying, or difference is not about dedication. Difference is not about the number of hours you are doing the hard work. They fail because they don't know what to fix. You are not able to realize what exactly the problem. Studying is one thing, scoring is another thing. Knowing is one thing, writing is another thing, right? That's what fetch you the mark. Only if you fetch the mark, you will pass this exam. So when that's when we made a, in fact, a big and I can say the way we changed their approach, right? We didn't increase the effort because they are already doing their maximum. So we are not asking you to put more effort. What we did is we changed the direction. And this is where most people go wrong. So what they think is, I need to study more. Now I'm studying 14 hours. I need to increase to 16 hours, or I need to increase to 18 hours. No, that's not the case. You need to study correctly. So I would say it's not about the quantity of the time. It is about the quality of the time. Even if you study 8 hours, but if you know what to fix and how to go forward, then there is no problem. 8 hours of study is equal to or much better than 16 hours of study also, without fixing your issues, without actually understanding the concept. So let me break down exactly what we did, so that you will also get an idea and you can implement it in your own way also. There are many students who cannot afford coaching also, and there are many students who are preparing for the state level exam also, where we don't teach. We only deal with civil services, UPSC only. So this will help you even if you're preparing for your state exam. So what we removed is, we removed everything extra. We just focused on the syllabus, and we just focused on only the relevant content. There is no overload. There is no need to keep reading more. There is no confusion. This more analysis, more reading, that will create paralysis. And the simple things work. that you can revise again and again. You can reproduce also. Understanding will also be better. So we never asked them to mug up the thinkers. Maybe I'm not talking about definition. If it is a definition of social system or social action that you need to mug up and write, even social system definition also you can write conceptually. We try to make them understand the concept. So in exam, what happened? You will definitely apply the concepts rather than reproducing the definition or whatever you mugged up. That is what it makes it different. Then if there is a small alignment difference in the question, then you get trapped. But if you are understanding through the concepts, then you will be in a position to apply the concepts, and then you will be able to fetch that good mark, and then you will be able to convey the examiner that you know the stuff and you can do it well, right? So even when it comes to daily answer writing, that is very important. This was the this is going to be very uncomfortable also initially, because even when I talk about my mentees, my students also, see, what normally we think is you have a mentor and how to show that answer, which you don't feel perfect. We know already that you cannot be perfect, and we are not expecting that right from day one. That is not expected also. The role is to guide you and to tell you these are the mistakes, and we will be happy only when we see that you evolve like this. It's not that you stay like this. You day one onwards, you write a better answer, you stay like this. No, you write the worst answer, improve 1%, improve 1%. And if we have 100 day, if you can improve 100%, that is what we would like to see. From zero, you need to reach. This is a graph that we also want to see. So if you start thinking like I'll write a perfect answer, then only I'll show it to my mentor, that is not going to work out. Even the worst phase, who should be seeing that is your mentor? Then only he'll be able to guide you. He'll be able to give you the feedback, right? So he's the one who's evaluating, and he's the one who's seeing your evolution. And only if you evolve, you get that marks in the paper. Otherwise, you just stay here only. You keep reading, but if you're not writing the answer, it will definitely be uncomfortable for you to write, also uncomfortable for you to show it to someone else, also uncomfortable, because you feel like your answer is not perfect. But the point is, improvement will come through the writing only and not through reading. If you keep reading, you're not going to improve. You have to write, even if it is only worth 1%. What we need is 1%, 1% improvement. You don't want to jump also. So you have to keep writing. If 100 days, 1%, 1%, if you can improve, this is what. And then after that, we think about 1 mark if you improve in each of the question. Even we think about 0.5 you can improve in each of the question. This is how we think, and this is how we need to execute. It's not that immediately you're going to write a big answer and a beautiful answer and a better answer which is going to impress the mentor. It is not possible, which is not required. If you think about that, you will ultimately fail. So every answer, you need to align with the structure which we have already discussed in the previous video, that intro, the concepts, and the structure which we have discussed, right? There should be proper thinkers, there should be proper connection, and there should be relevant explanation. So if you follow that structure which we have given with the content, there will be proper the expected depth in the answer. That's what required ultimately. When it comes to UPSC answer, depth is what is required. That shows the maturity, and that will fetch you the marks, right? So, and that became the biggest game changer. In fact, all my mentees, if you see, people have improved from 210 to 260, 220 to 275. So such kind of drastic improvement. First attempt 274, right? Such kind of improvements is what we have seen. So what we do is we evaluate every answer, we identify the mistake, and we correct the structure. So you won't repeat that mistake. We will correct the structure also. And without this, what you will do, you will just keep repeating the same mistake again and again. So do you think that you will be improving? You're not going to improve also. So this is exactly what you need to do. Whoever is your mentor, show your answer to them. Check whether the structure is correct. Check whether the thinkers are properly aligned. Whether your mistakes are you are getting corrected in the next exam that you're going to take. I'll give you one simple difference, which I have discussed in the previous session also, right? Caste in India, when you're talking about, or poverty, that is different perspective, the way you use it, right? So even if I talk about caste, you talk about the functions, you talk about the dysfunctions, and then in functions, you talk about the manifest functions and the latent function. If there is no manifest function, there can be a hidden function. Then similarly, dysfunction, the best of the things also, there can be dysfunctions. If there is no manifest dysfunction, there can be latent dysfunction, right? So this is how, and then net balance. This is how you should be writing. You should be presenting anything. And this is where Merton comes into picture. So caste, so see, average students will write like caste is an important system. Or when we talk about violence against women. So what you will do, how will you structure violence? Violence within family, outside family, which is wider, which means what? First you are doing micro and macro. Within family, outside family, micro, macro, society level and family level, right? And then in that also, you'll talk about manifest violence, right? Like beating and all those domestic violence and all, latent violence, hidden discrimination. That is also a kind of violence, but no physical violence involved. So within family, outside family, manifest violence, latent violence. There also manifest violence, latent violence, workplace discriminations and all those things you can write there. Manifest, you can write rape and abuse and all those you can write. So that shows that maturity, that shows the depth in your answer. You can talk about, if it is caste, you can talk about MN Srinivas, you can talk about GS Gure, you can start with the features of the caste, right? Then you can start with, so not some people I've seen, they'll write in general when it comes to paper two, but that is not sociological. If you look at the first line in your question paper itself, was write in a sociological perspective, write a short note on sociological perspective. So how can you write a general answer? That is not possible. And that's where you are losing and the mentees are fetching the marks. And that's how, once you understood this, then your confusion will turn into a proper clarity. And once you get that clarity, that effort will definitely turn into direction. And finally, that's how my mentees, 2025 national topper, 293 mark, 2026 national topper, 296 marks. This is how they got it. And remember, these guys have started after the prelims, not the 2026, 2025 guys, Priya also. And there are many more. I just took these examples only. So if you are stuck right now, what you need to understand is you don't need more content. Don't try to keep memorizing everything. Don't keep running behind the books. Don't keep running behind too many mentors or classes. You don't need more books, right? You need correction, because without correction you are just repeating mistakes every day. You need proper evaluation, proper feedback, proper direction. Otherwise you're not able to correct the mistakes. So if you want to follow the system that we are using, what we do is we have a live webinar which I conduct on this upcoming Saturday. So where what we'll do is we'll break down how to score minimum 260 mark in sociology, and that's a guarantee. If you attend the sessions, if you follow us, you'll definitely score. That's a minimum mark. Maximum, our students are national toppers. 2025 consecutively. That's not accidental, right? So minimum 260 is something which we can guarantee. And we can also tell how to complete optional after the prelims, even if you're starting after the prelims, and exact answer writing framework and the mistakes that you have to avoid when you prepare with sociology as the optional. So the link is there in the description. Just click on the link and you can join the upcoming webinar. Always remember, UPSC is not about how much you study. It's about how correctly you study and how quickly you understand your mistake and you correct it, right? And one right direction, that's enough. That can change your entire result also. Direction is more important. If you go in a wrong direction, no matter whatever effort you're putting in, it's going to be of no use. So I see you there in the webinar. It will be on the Saturday. So you can click on the link which is given in the description. I see you there.